This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The stakes have never been higher. The competition has never been stronger. 42 drivers, 25 rounds. One will be crowned champion. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. You're watching the premier American open wheel series on iRacing. The Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment starts now.
Sponsored by First Medical Equipment. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. Summertime in picturesque Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin has for many years been synonymous with one thing: the roar of an IndyCar around the magnificent Road America circuit. Now it may not be summer in the real world, but with the beauty of sim racing, it can always be racing season. The Lionheart drivers pack up from Iowa 2 weeks ago and head due north for the Rogue Buck 125 at Road America, presented by Irish Whitetail Distiller. And you can see all the simulated Dallara IR18 action of the Rogue Buck 125 at Road America live as it happens right here on the iRacing Esports Network. From the Badger State, hello and welcome to another GSRC broadcast and the Sim Experience Countdown to Green. Over the next 15 minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you need to appreciate the Rogue Buck 125 at Road America that will immediately follow as we count down to green. Coming at you live in the booth, to bring you our words eye view is, well, of course, former real-world IndyCar race car driver Richie Hearn. Yes, the man is here with us tonight, joined by me, Sean Ambrose. Yes, I'm sitting in for our buddy Soup, who's going to take a few races off. We'll see him soon, but I'm here. You got me, and of course, I'm Jed Yaman over there twisting and tweaking the dials for us in the booth. He's got the cameras provided to us by the great, the one, the only Dougie Beard this evening. Now, from one of the shortest tracks on the Lionheart schedule to the longest, the Lionheart drivers will tackle the fast straights and tight turns of this picturesque Road America circuit. First opened in 1955, Road America is the quintessential American road course with its elevation changes, off-camber corners, and tight confines. Road America provides plenty of braking zones where overtaking can be easy. But listen, let's get ready for the action in this week's track preview.
Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But two of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why.
And that is a beautiful look here at Road America. And my partner here, Richie, man, you've thrown down laps on this track. And just tell us a little bit about what it's like to get an IndyCar around here. You talk a little bit about the IR18, but heck, if you want to throw in a little bit about your experience as well, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I have to say this is probably the one place that you can really, truly get the most out of an IndyCar. It's got 3 long straightaways, as you can see on the map there, each time reaching over 200 miles an hour. There's really only a couple of slow corners. Most of those 90-degree corners you see on there are actually very quick. The real challenge when I raced here in real life was to trim the car out enough to get on go down the straights, but when you start laying that rear wing back, you really lose the ability to break into those corners, and that's really where the passing zones are. And trying to get through that carousel and the kink flat out was always kind of a hold your breath moment. And it's one of those places that you feel like you're really going somewhere. You're not just in a parking lot driving around. And today with these Delar IR18s, I did some practicing in it with these guys, and it is a real beast. Even though straightaways are long, each corner you're just on the edge of your seat trying to slow down. As you can see on the screen here, you're coming down into turn 1. You're going all the way to that last cone before you have to brake, downshift to third, and pretty much just floor it right through the corner. And a lot of corners are like that, and it's going to be really tricky to not drop a wheel. You drop a wheel, you're going to be off in the grass and hit something. So it's quite rewarding when you get it right, but it can be very frustrating as well. And that's going to go right into our countdown to green here. The countdown to green is brought to you by SimExperience, the team behind the AccuForce Pro V2 direct drive steering systems. By providing unparalleled realism and the most advanced tuning features on the market, the AccuForce provides a significant advantage to any sim racer. It can also make for an effective training tool for real-world drivers as well. For more information on the entire SimExperience ecosystems, including their GS5 seat, Stage Series motion systems, and SimVibe software, please visit simexperience.com and use that promo code we have for you, SimXLion. to get 5% off all SimVive software. Sean?
All right, Richie. The season is winding down, and the points championship has not been settled. Mathematically, nothing has been concluded. In fact, in the driver's standings, presented by First Medical Equipment, Adam Blocker will be looking to rebound from his poor showing in Iowa here a couple weeks ago. And, well, there's really no better track for the South Carolina native than this road course here at Road America, where he's dominated on road courses this year, and he did pretty well here last year. So now, while the odds are kind of slim at this point, you can bet though that one guy's not going to be giving up, and that's Dan Caron. He recently announced he's taking a break from full-time driving next season, and well, he's finished second in each of the last 3 season championships. And as long as he's still mathematically alive, Richie, Caron is going to look to go out with some kind of a bang this year. So 3 drivers still to watch out for this week. Going to be Sage Karam, Connor Harrington, Justin Weaver. Richie, hadn't seen his Sage here this week. I don't
think he's here. He had some surgery done on his arm recently.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be here this week. So we'll keep an eye on Harrington and Justin Weaver, though, because all 3 have been very fast on road courses this season, but it's the inconsistency that has bit all 3 in the results column. That being said, it's unlikely that the bad luck will befall at least 2 of them this round. So look for at least one of them to be up there challenging Adam Blocker for the win. Now, let's look at the team standings here real quickly, and that's where you see Adrenaline Motorsports Red. Now, again, nobody's been mathematically eliminated yet, but when you've got Blocker and Kinsella both on the same team there, although I don't think Kinsella's here tonight either, actually. No, he is, actually. So we've got Blocker and Kinsella here. It's going to really, really be hard to catch them here at this point, as they're both pretty much aces on the road, and good results for both of them will go a long way to wrapping up the team championship. Third looks to still be really close there with LPM Cancer Down and Adrenaline Motorsports Black. Then it's the logjam for what is 6th place, and that obviously you see the points and how close they are, how stacked up everybody is. That is anything but decided. So just outside the top 5, a lot of action going here. Richie, how does the rookie battle look going into the stretch here?
The rookie battle is been tight all year. This is presented by Butt Kicker as well. As all the other 2 series, as Sean mentioned, they're pretty much kind of done, but not completely done. The rookie standings are not even close. As you can see, Rigney, Martinez, and Hill all within 30 points of each other. Last week, Martinez was leading, had a really bad race at Iowa, and Rigney had a decent race. Hill's been the master of consistency, keeping in this event with 3 races to go. It's anybody's championship there for that rookie of the standings. So it's really going to come down to who can be consistent and not make that mistake, because at this point, there's no time to give up a race. So we've been watching this all year, and we'll keep an eye on it as we go through this event.
And Richie, this is the part of the show where we tell you about iRacing and the esports network that we're on here this evening. The best of the iRacing World Championships, as well as many top private leagues like the one you're watching right now and the one you were watching just a little while ago maybe, are showcased right here on the iRacing Esports Network. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to GSRC too. We're proud to be part of the ISN stable of broadcasters. Considered the premier fixed setup racing league for the Dallara IR18 on the iRacing service, the Lionheart IndyCar Series honors the memory of the late Dan Weldon. But Richie, right now, viewers tuning in for the first time, maybe even turning in for the first time, I'm not sure. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the details of what we're actually doing here tonight at Road America?
Actually, I will. And these series details comes to us thanks to Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit www.minus273.biz and use promo code LHRS for 25% all your orders. Here's our series details for Season 7 of the Lionheart IndyCar Series. We're round 21 of 25 with 3 driver drops getting down near the end. As we mentioned, we're using the Dallara IR18, and the setups are fixed, but they've been adjusted to make the cars a little more fun to drive. and we're working on cash and prizes totaling $9,652.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Sometimes I forget, not being a regular over here, how much money is at stake. Those cash and prizes. Listen, qualifying his underway. Dan Guerin right now, top of the board. Adam Blocker not far off. Only just what is that? One. We split by 100th of a second there, I think. Things are really, really. It's 106 degrees on track, Richie, and it's not very windy out here, but I don't know. Is the heat on the track surface in qualifying? Is that making a big difference right now as we see Dan come across for his fourth one here?
No, I don't think it's going to affect them in qualifying. It will affect them a little bit longer late in the run. The track definitely has some grip involved, and you're going to slip and slide a little bit. But like I say, I've done some running with these guys in these conditions. It's not too bad. And, Adam Blocker just took it to the top now with a 142.417. He's only 700ths of a second quicker. And I want to note, on a track this long, that is almost nothing. So usually you see bigger gaps than that on a track this long. So these guys are right on top of each other. And if you go all the way down to 8th place, it's only a half a second down to Damon Martinez. So these guys are all have done a lot of practicing, and qualifying is just about over. But this should be a good race. This is as long as they get through turn 1 cleanly, it's going to be definitely anybody's event that can win this race.
Yeah, certainly turn 1, especially from a standing start. Or not from a standing start, but from a rolling start. When they'll have the rolling start here, coming down that front straight, they'll be at full speed by the time they get to turn 1. So that could get indeed very sketchy. As qualifying has ended, Adam Blocker is going to get the pole, Richie.
Yeah, no, he's championship leader, and his second place in the championship is going to be starting right up next to him.
All right, let's go ahead and go to the grid then. As we said, Adam Blocker, your pole sitter, the butt kicker starting grid. Dan Guerin claims the front row with him, Richie.
Right behind them is going to be Brian Carey, and right next to him in 4th is going to be Tyler Groff.
All right, row 3 is going to be Connor Harrington, Andrew Kinsella. Row 4, Brian Beard, Damon Martinez. Row 5, Brian Yazik, and Sam Ryman qualifying in the top 10. So good on him. Sorry I got us messed up there, Richie.
Yeah, no worries. Starting 11th will be Steven Larkamp. Starting 12th will be Jason Galvin. 13th is going to be Ron Hacker. 14th will be Christopher. The row behind them will be Mike Rigney and David Altman in 15th and 16th. Starting 17th will be Mark Cohn. 18th will be Paul Jenkins. 19th is going to be George Anzaldo. 20th is going to be David Clymer. I'll just finish it out here. Brandon Limkerman is going to be 21st. Tony Schoen, 22nd. James Brandt will be 23rd. John Hill and Brian Greenlee will round out the final row.
And a bit of a small field for the Lionheart IndyCar Series here this evening. I think maybe I'm going to call them out. I think some of them were scared, Richie.
Some of them are scared, maybe, and it's getting near the end of the season and holidays are coming up, so people get have some things to do sometimes. But definitely a quality field here. We got some really fast guys. We got our Rookie of the Year championship contenders in there, and also our regular championship contenders in there. So once again, you can see how close those times were we showed earlier. This is going to be a close one.
You can send your hate mail to me. Don't send it to Sue. It's not his fault. So, but here we go as we zoom down the grid. We get ready to start rolling off. In fact, Adam Blocker gets him across the start-finish line behind the Porsche pace car. As we head down into turn 1, we'll take a full lap around Road America here. Full time to kind of just get comfortable in the car, get everything dialed in. All different types of rigs that these drivers are operating from the very simplest thing you could imagine to probably the very most involved and technical thing you could imagine. Full motion sim rig, seats, helmet, gloves, I hope they're not wearing a helmet. Maybe some are. Or a VR helmet, possibly. And Richie, we've got a little bit of clouds. It's not completely sunny outside today. So as big as this track is, it's very possible to be in the clouds on one side and be in the bright sunlight on the other, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's like I say, it's 4 miles long, so it covers a lot of distance. So with the dynamic weather, it could go sunny and cloudy all at the same lap there. So that definitely affects the way the track temperature works. These cars are fixed, so they can't really change anything as far as tire pressures go. So they're kind of going to be stuck with what they have.
Now they can adjust brake bias, and they will also have, I believe it's 10 push to passes. Is that correct?
That is correct. So there's a little number on their dash, tells them the countdown on it. So it does help, but definitely going to have to be prudent with that. All right, let's bring up our race analysis here. We'll talk about the series detail or the details for the race. And there we have. We're going to do 31 laps here. They can go about 10 laps. This track's long enough to where you don't want to stretch it out, because if you run out of gas, you're not going to make it around. So you kind of have to be pretty much right on that number. They do get points taken off for their incidents. -3 for 8, -5 for 12, and anything more than 20, you're going to get disqualified.
All right, and let's look at our onboard cameras here real quick, Richie, and take a look here at those. Of course, Tyler Graf is going to be in the number 26 night, the graphics machine there. Whether you're a company, photographer, student, or just creative, graphics orders, graphic services tailor-made according to your budget. Check him out on Facebook. Steven Larkamp is going to be in the number 62, the Rogue Buck Dallara IndyCar onboard camera. Revolutioning spirits one dram at a time. Experience the future of spirits. Visit irishwhitetail.ie. And Mike Rigney in the double OT will be in the iRacing iFlag onboard camera. iRacing iFlag and digital pit boxes are in stock. Get on the build list fast. Find them at iracingiflag.com. All right. Just about around the track here. Now the pace car will peel off rather early, because the start of that pit road is all the way at the bottom of the hill. You see it off to the right there as they come up the front straight. It's time to get started here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Up under the Caterpillar Bridge. We're mean green and underway here in Wisconsin, and they head down to the first turn, already almost up to full speed, looking to go 3 wide and a 1. And Blocker and Garrett settled in a line, but behind him, Groff, Carey going at it. Damon Martinez already pushing up through the field back there. Carey took a look at Dan Guerin into 2.
Yeah, pretty clean start here to get through 1 and 3 there. That's the tricky part as we go down this straightaway down to probably the hardest corner to slow down for, as it goes downhill into this tricky left-hander. This is turn 5. It's going to go right up the hill underneath the Corvette Bridge. So far, so good. Everybody's lying astern, and away we go as we come through the Corvette Bridge there. They go through an area called Hurry Downs. That's going to take us down to another tight left-hander, and that'll lead us on to the carousel. So far, everybody's looking real good. No moves made so far, but it's really good.
Brian Yasek made a big one, Richie, back down in turn 6. That got him in front of Brian Beard, and he left him in the dust. He's already pulled out a second on them, only a second behind Damon Martinez. So Brian Yasek actually on the uptick here early.
Yeah, it's important to get that good drive when you make that pass, because the draft is strong here. And right behind him, you got Steven Larkamp and Samuel Rhyme. Oh, it looks like Brian Beard going at it.
Yeah.
Yep, Brian Beard going at it as they go through Canada corner there.
Yeah, it's a good move by Larkamp as he got that settled there in Canada. That puts him up 2 spots here early.
Right,
they're fighting at the front straight.
was going to say, go back to 5th here. We got Connor Harrington, Andrew Casella trying to make the move. He does get it done going up the hill. Connor Harrington's going to get right behind him, try to get back in that drag. And look at Brian Yazik, man. He is right up on top of these guys. So he obviously had a faster car than he qualified at. So he's definitely on the move, trying to get some spots early on in this race.
On board with Harrington right here. Looking back at Damon Martinez. Martinez off to a good start also. But you were right about Yazik, about that move he's making. You can see him continuing to get closer into the picture. That blue and yellow HPP machine back there.
Ooh, Damon Martinez got really close to Connor Harrington coming up over that hill as they go through that fast little kink. But Damon Martinez, our championship rookie of the year standings contender, he was in first, had a bad race, lost that position. So he's got to have a clean race here. He's fast enough to take it, but he's got to have a clean race, as his closest competitor, Mike Rigney, is all the way down in 19th. So far, so good for Damon.
Yeah, it's funny. Yazik picks up all this ground, but he's going to have to somehow find a way to get through. These 3 drivers are battling really, really hard right now. Kinsella really not getting away from him at all. In fact, he's dropped off from the front 4 who've started to pull away.
Yeah, it's basically Linus Stern up front. You got Blocker, Guerin, Carey, a little bit of gap to Groff, and a little bit of gap to Kinsella. Kinsella's starting to pull a little bit away from Connor Harrington, but Damon Martinez and Brian Yazik are keeping on top of each other as they go through turn 1. Really tricky spot of the track. It's super fast, but it's easy to drop a wheel and hook it to go to the inside wall. It's so important to get good drives off these corners, because each one of these corners all lead on to very long straights.
And so far, so good. Nobody has managed to drop that wheel off, Richie. Track still looks pretty clean. And, and as I say that, Harrington, a little bit too much of the brakes there. Just behind him, David Martinez is around.
That's exactly what he didn't need to happen right there. He's going to have to sit there and wait for the whole field to go by.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really easy. That's basically a first gear corner. If you get on the gas just a little too hard, it just whips the thing around, as you saw in the replay.
Dead last.
He is basically going to be dead last. Yep. So kind of gave him the kiss of death talking about him. And he's got a long ways to go. He can make that up, but he has no room for error at this point on.
I mean, he doesn't bang up the car. Good on him for not doing that. But the time he had to spend there, that just amazing. Wow, to go from up there fighting. There's Stouffer.
Yeah, Chris Stouffer having a problem. Same type of thing. Coming up over that hill on the Corvette Bridge. It's a blind entry, so you're kind of braking as you're going over the hill. And if you're coming a little too much speed, it gets a little loose. And I've done that same mistake myself, so I know the feeling.
Yeah, and Stouffer suffered heavy damage on the front of that car. So he is definitely bound for the pits, but up front, it's still Adam Blocker, Dan Guerin, Brian Carey fighting it out for the top 3, and they have put a little distance on Tyler Groff back there.
Chris Stouffer's going to come in, try to get that front wing fixed. He's not too bad on the fuel window. It's 31 laps and 10 laps a stint, so you can do the math on that. So this is going to open up the window a little bit for him, but it's definitely going to put him on the back foot for the rest of the event.
Yeah, probably not the track you want to ride around in with that kind of damage on the wing.
Going to a battle for P10. We got Samuel Ryman right behind Jason Galvin. Jason Galvin got around Samuel Ryman there. Sam having a good race here. He's due to have some really strong races. He's been steadily getting better and better. He's had some bad luck, but he's having a good race right now. But I'm sure he's wanting to get by Jason to get back into that top 10.
I think Sam's been pretty happy with the season overall, and I think you said it. He seems to be faster every week, and I wouldn't give up on a battle between him and Galvin, although Galvin has picked up a couple spots here and started to come through just a bit.
Oh, and we go back to 12th. Ron Hacker goes wide in Canada corner. I was just going to say, there's a whole train of cars here going from 12th on back, and Ron Hacker is just stacking everybody up, as you can see on the screen right there. As they come to the last corner, they're going too wide, too deep. And we're going to come up the straightaway, and this is where the draft really helps. And this is where that push to pass is going to help as well. So right behind him, you got Paul Jenkins, Mark Cohn, David Clymer. All, yeah, just a total gaggle of cars. We'll see who's the bravest going into one.
They it doesn't seem many of them where they all got line of stern just before they got to one.
No, they all got smart there and
exactly.
Lined up. But man, this is quite a group of cars from basically 13th on back. Everybody stacked up, and like I said earlier, the draft is really strong. So if you're the third car in line, you're picking up 2 drafts. It's just, we got to pass right in the back of this field, right there on your screen, right there. Oh, it gets loose and a little bit of contact, but everybody keeps going.
Was it George? It was Inzaldo in the middle of that, wasn't it? George mixing it up back there. I was just about to talk about that group because, Richie, they're really right on the tail of the group in front of them we were just talking about. I mean, they were, and George is around. More trouble for Inzaldo there.
Yeah, it's the same spot we saw the Christopher had a problem.
Yep.
Got a little bit light over the top and got on the gas. Doesn't look like he hit anything, but definitely going to lose all those positions that he gained early on, and also a lot of track space. Up front, you're not missing anything. Blocker gapping himself to Garen, Carey. Well, Tyler Graff is catching up to Brian Carey, who's Andrew Kinsella and Connor Harrington are coming along for the ride. So right now, Brian Carey's sitting in third, but he's got a lot of company.
Yes, he does, and the fast company behind him as well. So, got to be careful here. Groff looking for something. He was exploring.
No, these guys are. There's going to be a move made pretty soon as they come up over that spot where we've seen some issues through the Corvette Bridge. Make that left. Make this fast, flat out kink to the right, down to Hurry Downs. Sella goes a little wide right behind these guys, but stays on the track. And then this is where you got to really line it up. Unfortunately, you do get a little bit of aero wash going through the carousel here, so you got to be careful where you place your car, because this is probably one of the best passing zones if you can get a good run through the kink, which they're just about to go through right there, and a really good passing zone into Canada corner.
Doesn't look like anybody's going to step out and try that yet. It's still early days, and we didn't talk about much in the pre-race, but they're probably going to need 2 or 3 pit stops to get this race done. And looking at some of the fuel numbers, it looked to be about 10 laps. We're about halfway through a 10-lap run, if that's the case.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-stop race. You just got to squeak out one more lap, but that one more lap is 4 miles as we see this. Andrew Kinsella going right to the inside, diving it in there right in front of Tyler Groff. Take that spot, but man, he just barely stayed on the track. That brought Connor Harrington into the game as well. So let's put Andrew Kinsella up to 4th spot and Tyler Groff back to 5th.
That looked like the move of a man that needs to get going. Maybe he'd like to be a little closer to that group by the time it's time to come in for the pit stops that we'd started to talk about there.
Yeah, he's Andrew Kinsella. If he wants to win this race, he's going to have to get going, because Adam Blocker and Dan Guerin have just checked out. And they're running a really steady pace, although Andrew Kinsella is starting to close in on Brian Carey. So Brian Carey is running all alone in 3rd, but if he looks in his mirrors, he's got basically 3 hungry cars coming up to him. Brian Yazek had a good start, but he has dropped off a little bit off this pack, so he's sitting pretty in 7th spot, but kind of lonely at the moment.
Yeah, and I wonder what happened. Maybe he made a mistake or something that got him off the pace, because it certainly seemed he was on the move and on the way towards the leaders, and that car really has dropped off for one reason or another. Don't see any.
He caught.
Looks
I was gonna say he was right behind these guys, and yeah, just a little mistake, lose the draft. At that point, sometimes just, you know what, I'm just gonna settle in, hit my marks, run my rhythm, and just kind of see how it plays out. Go back to Ron Hacker here. Paul Jenkins is kind of alone in 12th, but Ron Hacker, he's been pretty busy. He has about 5 cars behind him, as we see on the screen right there. They come up the front stretch into turn 1. There's Paul Jenkins, and then it's a big pack there.
Yeah, that's that pack we were talking about before, which is split up a little bit. It's kind of 2 packs right now. The one led by Hacker and Clymer and the Watchman there, Cohn and James Brandt. And you go back to Rigney, Altman, and Limkeman.
Yeah, if we want to go to that championship or the Rookie of the Year standings right now, Damon Martinez is sitting in 20th after his early mistake. His closest competitor, Mike Rigney, is just about just a few seconds ahead of him. He's got a couple cars, Altman and Limkerman, in between them, so we'll keep an eye on that as we go. John Hill, he's sitting there in 23rd. He's kind of doing his thing. He's been really consistent this year, so he's just kind of not been the fastest guy, but he's been really consistent and run strong to get himself into that top 3 of the Rookie of the Year standings.
Tony Schowen has had a small problem. Did he have an off?
Yeah, he went off just at the exit of the bottom of the hill there before the Speedville Bridge, the Bratwurst Bridge. Not didn't lose any positions, but definitely lost some speed. That's bringing John Hill and George Anzaldo right up to him.
Yeah, right up to him, literally. In fact, Anzaldo closing on Hill here real quickly. Anzaldo right under the wing. Looks to get a good run. I imagine George going to use the slipstream here and try and make this pass. And the car up in front of them, who was it? Was that Brian Greenlee had trouble out of the final turn?
Yeah, he did. He got off to the right through the grass.
What?
And now that's brought him back to this group. So now we have a group of 4. And there goes George Anzaldo trying to go around the outside of John Hill. He looks like he's going to run. Oh, no. He had the line, and he just a little bit wide in turn 3, although technically it's turn 2, but they call it turn 3. But does a little bit of lawn mowing and has to give that spot back, and unfortunately it drops him back out of the draft.
Some feisty racing going on here at the back of the field.
Yeah, these guys are racing pretty strong here up front. You're not missing anything. Adam Blocker's almost 2 seconds ahead of Dan Guerin. Brian Carey still holding tight in 3rd spot. Yep. Kinsella, Groff, Harrington, and Yazik closing in on him, but he's able to kind of keep that gap pretty steady. I think right now we're getting close to pit stops. Is working lap 9, so probably should start seeing some cars come in. Although these guys are going to have to try to make it 11 laps at some point in order to make it a 2-stop strategy. So see if these guys can do that on that first run.
Well, if you're going to run out of fuel, I guess the first one would be the time to do it.
Yeah, if you run out of fuel here, you're done because you're going to have to take it. Actually, that's not where you're at. And here we go, P3. Brian Carey once again holding steady, but Andrew Kinsella, he's gapped himself from Groff and now is really latched onto the back of Brian Carey. Andrew's really good at saving fuel, so I'm assuming at this point he's actually probably enjoying the draft a little bit. Try to save a little bit of fuel and make that 11th lap.
Yeah, this probably looks to be his best opportunity. Fought to get around Groff and Harrington, and now he has Carey to use for some drafting, some fuel saving, and squeeze the 11th lap he's going to need for a 2-stop strategy. Blocker and Guerin still full bore up at the front. Blocker, in fact, now opened up 2 seconds over Guerin. It was just over a second, like 1.2, not too long ago.
Yeah, he's gaining about 2/10 of a lap on Dan Guerin, and Dan Guerin's well clear of Brian Carey. So these two are on their own little race at the moment. Adam Blocker's coming up to the last corner, so we're going to see if he's going to pit. This will be the beginning of, and here he comes. He's coming in. Here comes Dan Guerin as well. And at this point, it looks like the whole field's coming in. So getting a clean stop is going to be key.
Now it's like, okay, who's going to be who's going to be the magician here and stay out?
If you can stay out one more lap, then you are a magician. Like I said, it's almost not even worth the risk because it is such a long lap. You can't just coast around.
And our good friend and fellow commentator, Sam Ryman, has decided, I'm going for it. So is Ron Hacker and James Brandt, who've been working together, it looks like, a little bit. As we see cars already making their way out of the pit lane. Not a very, very long stop in there. And it looks like it was
about 7 seconds. A little 7.5 seconds. Looks like 7.3 for Tyler Groff, 7.5 for Adam Blocker. Dan Guerin, not a good stop at 8.2, so it's real key on kind of stopping right where those guys are laid out. But everybody comes on out, so let's keep an eye on Samuel Ryman, see if he can make it all the way around. If he can, man, more power to him, because that's going to just help him later on in the race.
Yeah.
Because at some point, these guys are going to have to save some fuel. And just remember, every time you use that push to pass, it is horsepower, but horsepower takes fuel, so it kind of kills that mileage.
And I'm guessing Sam has sat on those, hasn't even touched the push to pass yet. Maybe that's one of the things he had planned on doing. It was part of his strategy to watch Hacker and Brandt continue to go at it here. Maybe not really go at it, but race really close together here. And of course, we're very curious if they're going to make it as well. Ryman coming to the last turn, Richie.
I was just going to go back to Damon Martinez. We don't have to go to it, but Damon Martinez was able to get by Mike Rigney going into turn 5. So that's our Rookie of the Year standings. And it looks like Sam's going to make it. And he's in the pit lane. So credit him that lap extra. And that could help him out later in the race.
And the leaders come back by. Adam Blocker, Dan Guerin, Brian Carey, now all back in your top 3. And Andrew Kinsella, now very, very much a part of that battle as he closes in on Carey.
Yeah, not much has changed position-wise, but we do have a battle for 4th and 5th, and then right behind them, a really close battle with Connor Harrington and Tyler Groff. We want to go to that for 6th and 7th because Tyler Groff is looking to the inside. Sorry, 5th and 6th. Tyler Groff is going to go around Connor Harrington right down there at the bottom of the hill in turn 5, going to get that pass done.
Harrington almost looks like he went a little bit deep on that and didn't get a really good exit off and has lost a little bit of momentum now. Groff pulling away. Oh, Jenkins around.
Yeah,
Ouch.
Jenkins around turn 1. Came in a little bit hot. Missed the apex. Got out in the grass. He's got the wheel turned through the rocks. And just a slight hit of the wall. But unfortunately, he's in a really bad spot to try to get turned around.
Yeah, drivers can't see him there at all. And there was another driver that went off right behind him. Just, if we leave it right here, you'll see a car coming over the hill here. I didn't see who it was, but a car comes spinning out of control there. And again, I think it was just because they couldn't see him.
Well, Adam Blocker's way out in the lead here. He's all alone. He's got over 2-second gap to Dan Guerin. Adam Blocker's been pretty much unstoppable on the road courses this year. That's really what's got him almost a firm grasp on that championship. But Brian Carey, third spot, still battling Andrew Casella. Andrew can't seem to find a way by. Tyler Groff has, like I said earlier, showed earlier, gotten by Connor Harrington, but Connor Harrington hasn't given up. And not too far behind this group is our buddy Brian Yazik. So still sitting in 7th spot, but yeah, it seems like he's got his rhythm back, and it's kind of, as these guys race to each other, that's going to bring him right into this mix.
You know, Blocker holds the qualifying and race lap records here at Road America, Richie. And so I don't think there should be any great shock right now that he is leading this race and doing it as well as he is. So battle here for 13th going on.
We got Damon Martinez going by Marcone. Damon's going to get by. So Damon started 8th. Obviously had that self-spin, had to go all the way to the back of the field, and he's back up to 14th. So he's a little bit of on a mission there. He's got to get up there, and he's got a 31-point gap to cover to him to Mike Rigney, and Mike Rigney's sitting there in 15th. So Martinez in 13th.
Everybody survived the pit stops pretty well there, Richie. It didn't really spread out the field as much as I thought it would. We've still got some pretty intriguing battles going on here. That one between Martinez and Cone that we just saw, with Damon continuing his recovery drive after trouble really early in this race. I'll tell you what, Harrington and Groff, still a great battle, though, is Connor now the attacker. Looks like he's setting him up here for a move. Maybe down in Canada we're going to get something here, Richie.
Yeah, right now we're going towards turn 5 underneath the Sargento Bridge. This is really tricky because you go drop down and have to slow way down to first gear from 6th to 1st, and then get a good drive up the hill. This is probably one of the hardest parts of the track. It is a blind turn, and your car gets light on the braking. Make this fast right-hander here. It's flat out, 4th gear, up to 5th, down the hill to turn, I believe that's turn 8. And that leads us right into the carousel, is where they're at now. It is downhill, a little off camera downhill. That shoots you down the far end, straight through the forest, through the kink, and then down to Canada Corner.
Yeah, and so I was a little early on getting him to Canada, but unfortunately Harrington didn't pick up enough ground before getting there, so there was no move. And you know who's closing back there? I see in the distance Brian Yazik starting to turn some fast laps. In fact, a little bit faster than the drivers in front of him, so Yazik could be a part of this picture here really soon.
Yeah, he's about 0.2 of a lap faster than these guys, so he's slowly catching them. Although that lap he was a little bit slower, so it's kind of going back and forth. They're all kind of running mid to low 43s. Tyler Groff able to put out a 42.8 on that last one, so he's gapped himself to Connor.
P8 not looking too bad. In fact, Brian Beard right now with a little bit of pace, starting to catch the draft here as Stephen Clark can. And as he comes out from under the Corvette Bridge. Now, every time I see somebody come out of there, Richie, I give pause. I'm like, okay, wait a second. Is this the time somebody spins?
Not many battles going on. We do have a kind of a close battle here between Ron Hacker and David Altman. David Altman all for 17th and 18th position. David Altman is right on the bend. There's that spot you're just talking about. Yeah. As they come through the hurry down area. Ooh, that was close.
Yeah, it really was.
Altman almost wiped out the back of Ron Hacker.
He had to get way out of it. Look at all the time he lost there. Drops to now a second behind him. I wonder if Altman knows exactly how lucky he was right there from having his race ended.
Right? And that kind of killed that battle a little bit. That was a bad spot for that to happen because you're going to lose all that. Oh, no, we got an accident here. David Clymer coming out of Canada corner there, turns it around. He's facing the wrong way.
Well, he's not the first person that's ever done that.
Yeah, spinning out of position 12. He's going to get going again, but definitely loses a couple of spots.
You hit those rumble strips and you give it just a little bit too much throttle, and that's really all it takes to snap it around on you.
Yeah, it's really easy to do because all these corners lead on to straightaways. So you're always trying to get that drive and get on the gas as soon as you can. And like you said, you get on those rumble strips just a little bit wrong, and away you go. Up front, Adam Blocker's making this a snooze fest for the lead. He's 4 seconds ahead of Dan Guerin. Dan Guerin's kind of holding steady there in second spot. Brian Carey's still able to hold off Andrew Kinsella, which is not an easy job to do.
Yeah.
These two battle out.
Impressive.
Oh, just as I say that, there goes Brian Carey off the track into Canada corner.
It's on you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I guess it's on me. Sorry there, Brian. Give that spot to Andrew, although Brian's going to keep on going. Yeah. There's a replay here. You can see as he comes in the corner. It's real important to get a good drive off this corner, but he just gets a little bit wide out in the gravel, keeps it straight, but loses the spot.
Well, so you make a mistake like that, though. The really important part of that is recovering out of that sand really well and not spinning the car again or making the problem worse. And he did a really good job of getting out of that and getting back to the racing line, and only finds himself a second behind Kinsella at this point. But having to go catch Kinsella now, that's a different story than the one we had just a moment ago.
Yeah, I think Kinsella has actually got the faster car, but we'll see if he can pull away and maybe start clawing his way up to Dan Guerin. But Kinsella doing a good job, starting 6th, now up to 3rd.
Hey, Richie, we got a battle for P13, man. The Watchman is under some really heavy pressure from James Brandt right now. The Indiana driver actually not having a bad night. He started 23rd, I think it was, for Brandt.
Yeah, 23rd to 14th, so one of our bigger movies. Looks like he's going to try to make a move here. Yeah, he backs out of it into turn 5. Think better of it. Right behind them, you can see the 3 cars coming through turn 5. So that's Mike Rigney, Rod Hacker, David Altman. David Martinez up in the 12th, doing a good job recovering from where he was.
Oh, it looks like Clymer's had another problem. He has. There he is on screen, turned around.
Little spin in there in turn 5, trying to get turned around. Sometimes when you have those spins, you're so worked up that you just want to get going, and then you just end up having another one. So you just kind of have to settle down, find your rhythm, and get back to it.
And you just talked about rhythm as we came out of, well, shortly after this, once he got back going again, he got off in the dirt again. So really tough right now for Clymer getting back into that rhythm that you talked about, and that's really, really dropped him back significantly in his field now. And the battle for 13th races on as the Watchman here is side by side with James Brandt into 1.
Looks like James Brandt's going to get that done. Nicely done. Pretty straightforward pass. Get the draft. Outbreak him. And stay on the track. So give that spot to Brandt. Move Mark Cohn down 1 spot.
Oh, Yazik's had trouble. He's found the turf.
Oh, yeah. Came down into the hill. A replay a little coming up. Came down into that, got on the gas, and just kind of overcorrected a little bit, snapped back out. Fortunately, doesn't hit anything, but definitely going to lose some time.
Oh, Limkeman, trouble for him. He makes it through Canada.
This corner right here is blind. There used to be a bridge right there, so it made it a lot harder. It's not as hard as it is now, but it's still a blind entry. And as he comes into the final corner, ooh, I've actually done that in real life. So
Into that barrier, really.
I crashed my Budweiser car right into that barrier one time in practice. So that feels. I didn't get to keep going though. I just.
I was about to ask if you make it up the hill into the pits. Yeah.
Nah, you just get out and hold your head in shame.
The walk of shame back up to the box. Oh no. Well, up front, it's still Adam Blocker's race. Richie now has a full almost 5 seconds on Guerin.
Yeah, he's just doing his thing. He's just running those 42 4s, 42 5s. Dan's doing a good job, but he's 0.3 of a second slower. But Andrew Kinsella, even though he got up to third spot, he has not been able to get rid of Brian Carey. And he hasn't been able to make up any space on Dan. So I thought Andrew was a little faster than that, but it looks like he kind of reached his peak. And Brian Carey looking to get that spot back from him.
So, Richie, the pole sitter has gone on to win every single running of Road America and the Lionheart IndyCar Series. They've been running this now, season 2 up through the current season 7 now. So, I guess it's a pretty strong indicator of who wins this race. And really, an even bigger fact is only 6 different, over the years, only 6 different drivers have actually led laps at Road America and the Lionheart Indy Series. So Sam Ryman can add his name to the list now, I believe, with his lap that he stayed out. I believe he does get credit for leading that lap.
He does. He does get credit. Let's get credit to Sam. He stayed out that extra lap, and he's in 11th, started 10th and 11th, but honestly, we'll see how this pays off later on. This might help him out for a couple of spots, just having to take a little less fuel, or if these guys have to start saving at the end, and he doesn't. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that as we get closer. We are working lap 20, so that means we should be seeing pit stops again coming up.
I would say hashtag soon. Indeed.
Yeah, and this could be the final stop if these guys can make it that 11th lap, and that's where it's going to help Samuel Ryman.
What is it with this? What is it with this part of the field today? This is really where most of the action has come from in this race. Here we've got the Watchman now battling with Rigney, Hacker just behind David Altman in this picture.
Yeah, most of the heavy battles have been right around this 13th to 17th spot. As Mark Cohn's trying to hang on. James Brandt has passed Mark and kind of checked out. Mark's struggling a little bit to hold on to that 14th spot. He's got Rigney, who is our Rookie of the Year standings leader, hanging on. David Martinez has passed him and moved up to 12th.
Groff has decided to come in. GroffX machine is in, and all our sim racing driver Tyler Goff is in. Brian Yazik bringing his LPM thumbs up machine down the pit lane.
And this is going to be the spot where Blocker, Guerin, Kinsella, Carey, and Harrington are going to try to stretch it out to that 11th lap. Groff is going to have to do it on the final stint. So we'll see how that plays out.
And Groff is away. The onboard graphics camera. Very colorful car. I believe he's covered just about everyone in the box there. Tyler comes right out in front of James Brandt, who still needs to take his stop. But Brandt, a big mover in this race, of course. We talked about it.
Yeah, so some of these guys, like a lot of them, are trying to make this middle sector their 11th lap stint.
Right.
Some are choosing to pit early. Adam Blocker's going to come through this final corner. He's got to pit this time, so
he's in.
Here he comes.
I don't think anybody's going to be brave enough to try and go outside of that tree. Garen comes in. Kinsella will be right behind him. Brian Carey. Here comes Connor Harrington.
Now, it'll be interesting to see where Groff, he's in the carousel right now. And these guys are pretty far out in front of him. This is a long pit road, so it does take a while to get down to your pit stop. We're about to 7-8 second pit stop.
Blocker hits his stall clean. Garen's in.
You can see our pit stop comparison there running on the screen. Adam Blocker on the fastest stop, but Dan Garen's actually a little slower. So
Yeah. I think Dan did not do himself any favors, and we got a fight coming out of the pit lane. It was Kinsella and Brian Carey neck and neck right off.
And Connor, yeah, I was going to say Connor Harrington came out right in front of Tyler Groff into turn 1, who's bringing along James Brandt, who has not pitted yet. So James Brandt is going to go another lap.
That'll be 11 for him.
Yeah, move that up. He's 23rd and 9th, so nicely done. He's sitting behind Tyler Groff, getting a little bit of a draft.
He may need that.
Connor Harrington able to come out in front of Tyler Groff to hold on to that 5th position. Everybody else, Linus Stern, Blocker, Garen, Kinsella. Carey's still right behind Kinsella, but not close enough to make a move. And we got Harrington. Looks like Groff.
Sam Ryman, Damon Martinez. Martinez going to get by just under the bridge. They've been
David
back
Altman
and forth a couple times, actually.
and Mark Cohn going at it as they go over the hill and turn 6. So David Altman's going to get by Mark Cohn.
Martinez made a mistake, actually. Didn't cost him a whole lot, but he almost lost the car completely. Sam Ryman's still just behind him. And Brandt does bring his machine in, finally. Yazik will scream by. Now we are in the final segment of this race. Oh no, trouble for George Anzaldo. In what has been a familiar spot this evening, Richie. Oh,
Yeah.
comes back on the track. Watch when he comes back
force
on the track here.
Yeah,
It's a
he
close moment.
Yeah, it's about 3 spots we've seen some consistent problems, and this is one of them. This is right down after hurry downs. Does a little donut, and then gets back on the track, but does it right in front of, I don't know who that was.
It was David Clymer, actually. Yeah. David's had enough trouble of his own. He didn't need that in his windscreen. He doesn't have a windscreen.
They will next year.
Not yet. Yes, they will. I'm jumping ahead of the game. I wonder if we're going to get that scanned. Are you a fan, Richie?
I actually, I mean, I understand the whole thing about it, but on this, we don't need, there's no safety issues here playing this, this what we're doing right here. So let's just keep it the way it is.
We just had a car go around. I think it was that Ron Hacker? Yeah, Hacker and Greenlee just went around on track. Sorry, Rich, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just happened to be looking to Ron there, and man, that corner is
Same
just
spot.
eating drivers up today. Yeah, man. Wow. Now Greenlee. Because it wasn't just one problem, it was 2. And this is at the other hot spot. Wow. And Brian avoids any real trouble there. Greenlee actually not having a horrible race. He didn't qualify well. He is up to 18th. He started 25th. He's got John Hill right in front of him. He's still got a chance to pick up another spot here. I don't know. Maybe, anybody has trouble in front of him here. It's race certainly not over. Hill started 24th himself, so this is a battle between guys who've seen a lot of each other today.
Yeah, and to bring up Hill, he's in 17th. His closest competitor, or the guy leading the Rookie of the Series Championship, or Rookie of the Year, is in the pits. He is out of the car. So I don't know what happened out there. He had a wreck. His car is all torn up. So he's sitting in the pits. So that's going to change that Rookie of the Year standings once again, because Damon Martinez is up to 11th. But, man, give credit to John Hill. Once again, the consistency is going to possibly move him up to second spot in that Rookie of the Year standings.
Well, he definitely has motivation to continue to fight Greenlee here. Over the last, about 7.5 laps that we're probably looking at now.
22 cars left on the lead lap. George Ansado in 22nd spot. He's the only car a lap down that's running. Everybody else kind of spread out quite a bit. Not much going on to report. Although, do we have a battle for 17th? We want to go to that, as Brian Greenlee is now going to try to go the inside of John Hill in Canada corner. It looks like he's going to... Ooh, and John Hill's not going to give it up as they come up over the hill. They're going to go side by side. That's going to push Greenlee out into the grass. He's going to have to get out of it.
They almost...
done for John.
They almost made contact there. That was really, really, really close.
Yeah, it's not really a place you want to go side by side because it is a blind entry, but give credit to John Hill for not giving up. He's going to hold on to that 17th position. As you watch on board, they come over. You can't see the apex. And Brian Greenlee does.
And Tyler Graff has had a problem also here on the replay. And where have we seen that?
Same spot. Same spot, man. And he gets going, clips the wall a little bit. Doesn't look like any damage, but definitely going to kill his chances of winning this race right there. And that's going to bring Brian Yozik right up behind him.
You can see the skid marks from other drivers that have gone off right there on the replay.
It's been about 4 drivers so far, at least.
A lot of rubber down there in that part of the track, obviously.
Up front, everything's the same.
Yep.
Blocker, Guerin, Kinsella, Carey. Carey has not been able to really claw into the space between him and Kinsella to make any type of move, although he's keeping him honest. Connor Harrington's sitting there all alone. Groff, after his mistake, has gapped himself from that battle. Really not much going on out there. Everybody's just kind of doing their thing.
I kind of dipped back to P10 and just looked at the last laps between Galvin and Martinez. It's really, really close. It was very marginal. It was like their laps are practically identical, but Martinez is not that
of a second.
Yeah, Martinez not that far behind him that he could get into the draft here.
And he's just got to get a couple of good runs, and if you look back behind them, there's Sam Ryman doing a good job, hanging in there. Let's see if that pays off. That extra stint on that first run pays off. If these guys who have not done that yet, they have to start backing off a little bit. And also, if he has some fuel, Samuel, this is where you can start, burning some of those push to passes to get up there.
Right, those push to passes that he's been sitting on, that we suspect he was sitting on to pull off the fuel saving that he did. So we'll see. I mean, he is really in a good spot here to pick up those two with a little help from that push to pass. He can get into that draft as Galvin and Martinez now start to close even a little more. Martinez is really, really starting to find the rear wing here of Jason Galvin. Which
Yeah,
been a
and
quiet night for Galvin. I can't believe I'm saying that. Jason Galvin's had a quiet night. Quiet and Galvin are two things that I don't generally put in the same sentence. Five laps to go, Richie. This has
now the
been a
race has
good one.
gone. Yeah, it's been pretty good. Not the most exciting, but there's been some incidences, some good passes. It's gone by quick though. Adam Blocker getting by another lap car. It's gone by David Clymer. Oh boy, right there. Was that in front of Adam Blocker?
It sure was, Richie. And I mean, that car was on a wild ride coming back across the track. Here it is.
Oh yeah. Oh boy, that just made Adam's heart skip a little bit.
Yeah, made mine skip.
So far, Adam's had a pretty easy race. That was probably the hardest thing he's had to deal with, is wondering where that car was going to go. As you jump on board with him at the moment, you can see when he comes to the corner, that car bounces straight out, and he has to make a little bit of a twitch, and thankfully it doesn't come all the way across.
Yeah. Man, with 4 laps to go, and you got to deal with that.
4 laps to go, 16 miles, about 8 minutes.
Hey, and remember that battle that we were talking about between Galvin and Martinez? That's a real thing now. That is a very, very real thing that Jason Galvin's maybe scratching his head over, thinking, all right, what have I got to do now to keep this guy from passing me? Because he has been caught. It happened down the front straight and into one. Martinez is got him lined up here.
As many points as he can for that Rookie of the Year standings, take that lead back with only 2 races to go. So he's definitely going to fight this out. I wish we had a way to know how many push to passes they had. We don't.
Yeah.
So they might be completely out, or might be saving them for the last couple of laps. And David is all over the back of him right now. So you can see Jason's really getting wide on some of these corners, feeling the heat a little bit as they come down to this one section. We've seen a lot of problems, and they head into the carousel. This is going to be a good section. If Damon can get a good run off this corner, you can see how he goes to the inside, get a little air off that wing, but it pushes him out wide at the exit. He's going to get a good chance here. He's going to go through the kink, and he's going to close on up. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. If he stays close enough, he'll get a chance up that front straightaway.
Good pursuit here by Martinez. I'm impressed with the rookie here, Richie. He's looked awful good tonight.
Yeah, he's had a good race here tonight after a little bit of a disappointing run last race at Iowa.
Okay.
Here they come up the front straightaway. He's in the draft.
There are like 5 cars left on the lead lap, Richie. I think there was a lot of drivers that didn't have as good a run at Iowa as they wanted.
That is true. It was a little bit of a tough event, but I thought Damon was going to have a run at him in the turn 1, but Jason took the kind of a defensive line.
Hey, we slept on Brian Greenlee, by the way. He just picked up another spot, or well, he picked up a spot back from John Hill.
Yeah, he finally got back by John Hill. John Hill fought him off valiantly earlier on, but Brian's able to get by him, take that 17th position.
Brian's got to feel pretty good about that. You got to hang on to it here for 3 more laps. Good stuff. Galvin and Martinez, though, still going at it here. Galvin goes in too deep. And Martinez really had to check up there a bunch, Richie, didn't he?
Yeah, he kind of caught him off guard. He didn't really have anywhere to go to make that move. Tried to, but as we've seen, that's been a tricky spot for everybody, so he was smart not to just floor it. and kind of live on to fight again. We're working 2 laps to go, so he's going to get a couple more chances. There's definitely places to pass out here if you can get the run just right. I think his best chance is going to be coming up into turn 1, is if he gets a good drive right here. Not the best drive off that corner. I don't think he's going to get a chance here, but he's going to get a couple more opportunities. He's just got to be able to get right behind him coming off those corners. As we look overhead here, you can see how Jason's swerving a little bit, but not close enough to make that pass. He'll get another chance coming out of turn 3, going into turn 5.
I'm still sitting here thinking to myself, all right, who's got what as far as push to passes go? Is Martinez sitting on like 5 of them and he's just getting ready to mash the button, you know?
Yeah, the other thing is though, if they don't have enough fuel, they can't use it. So
right.
Oh, here he comes.
Move.
He's gonna nope. He's gonna poke his nose, try to make Jason make a mistake. But the wife, oh man, he almost runs into the back of him right there and has to really check up. White flag's coming out.
Adam Blocker's got it. White flag with an 8-second lead on Dandy Dan Guerin. And Kinsella will come across in 3rd, being followed closely by Brian Carey still.
And just like that, Adam Blocker sets the fastest lap of the race at a 42.0. That's faster than he qualified at.
Yep. Man, and here is Galvin Martinez. Martinez looked to make the move into Canada. Richie didn't get it.
No, he's going to get a couple more chances. This is where he has to get the run. He's got to get the run off this corner. He is right behind him, but he can't get the drive, and he's not close enough. And if you look behind them, man, Samuel Ryman's closing in. He's not going to be close enough to pass. But if these guys tangle, he's going to be close enough to take advantage of that. So I think Damon Martinez really kind of didn't get the drive that he wanted. Now he's going to do all that hard work. He's got about 2 more chances to try to make this happen.
I think our buddy Sam's been laying on that push to pass button, because he really closed down the gap to those guys big time. It's under a second for him now. But here comes Blocker. He's going to have 1 car in front of him. That's John Hill. John's going to get out of the way, kindly move to the side, and let Adam Blocker climb the hill. On to victory here at Road America for Adam Blocker. That's a big one. Dan Guerin going to take home a 2nd place finish. He'll be happy with that. Andrew Kinsella is going to survive to fight off Brian Carey. Connor Harrington all by himself for a top 5 run tonight.
Everybody else kind of coming across the finish line, keeping an eye on this battle back in 10th. Nothing happening, though. I think Damon Martinez, yeah, he faded, spent his money. He's got 1 more chance coming into the last corner, but he's not close enough unless he wants to just try to take him out. And I don't think that's going to happen. He's got to take this finish. 11th's going to probably get him the lead in that. Oh, he's going to send it. Oh, boy. That was something I probably wouldn't have tried at that point. He sent it in there, but here they go. Give the spot to Jason Galvin.
And then we go back to P16. It's Brian Greenlee, Ron Hacker. And this is going to be a fight to the finish. Greenlee looking to pick up another spot here. Or I'm sorry, Greenlee's got the spot. It's Hacker that's looking to pick up the spot.
Oh, Greenlee goes off the track, and he's going to lose it. He drove in too deep.
Yep.
And Ron Hacker's going to take the spot right at the checkered flag.
Greenlee's just probably feeling gutted right about now. That was all on him.
Greenlee went into the corner, and he took a little bit of a defensive line early apex, but that sent him out wide, and Ron Hacker just kind of said, thank you very much.
Well, Richie, boy, the Rogue Buck 125 at Road America really lived up to its billing here this evening. What a race. But we're going to take a quick break here on the iRacing Esports Network at the Global SimRacing Channel. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Rogue Buck 125 at Road America and the Plasma Tracks Victory Lane post-race show. You know, race fans, if you're struggling to find something for that person who has everything, do I have the website for you? Plasma-tracks.com not only produces original racetrack wall art, motorsports trophies, home decor, and motorsports fabrications are also available. You know, words really just can't do justice to the uniqueness of their wares. The only way to fully appreciate their artwork is to see it for yourself, but be warned, one visit and the next thing you know, you'll be trying to convince your spouse or that special person in your life why you need a Plasma Track wall art hanging in your home. See it at plasma-tracks.com. Use the promo code LRS2019 to get 25% off your order. And now, let's bring you 100% of the SimPit finishing order for the Rogue Buck 125 here at Road America. Adam Blocker gets the big win tonight. Dan Guerin will come home P2. And Andrew Kinsella rounds out the podium. The seeded Brian Carey with a valiant run there in P4. Connor Harrington with a good job tonight there in 5th. Tyler Groff will finish 6th tonight. Great run for him. Brian Yazik had some speed early, and then something just didn't look right in that car, but it was good enough for P7. Stephen Larkamp tonight will finish 8th. Brian Beard 9th for him. And Jason Galvin actually fought really hard to take home that 10th place spot tonight, Richie.
Yeah, coming home in 11th is Damon Martinez, who really sent it on Jason Galvin in that last corner, but give credit to him. He spun out early, went to the back of the field, and raced his way all the way up, so nicely done. Sam Reitman doing a good job, finishing 12th. stayed out a lap longer than everybody else in that first pit stop, but he was right there in that battle for 10th spot with those two guys in front of him. James Brandt coming in 13th, David Altman coming in 14th. Mark Cohn had a great battle out there as well, coming in 15th. Ron Hacker getting past Brian Greenlee, a ride at the finish line for 16th, with Brian Greenlee coming home 17th. John Hill doing a good job, coming home 18th. Tony Schoen 19th, and Damon Clymer 20th.
All right, and then George Anzaldo is going to finish 21st tonight. Richie Paul Jenkins 22nd. Mike Rigney 23rd. Brandon Limpkeman 24th for him. And poor Christopher had that trouble early and never recovered from it. That wing damage sent him to the pits, back to the pits, and well, he finishes 24 laps down. But Adam Blocker sure didn't. And on the heels of having great success here last season, Adam, you come back and you do it again here at Road America. You were the I was saying during the broadcast, you were the qualifying lap record holder and the race lap record holder, and well, now you've won it again. So congratulations, Adam.
Yeah, thanks. Definitely wasn't easy. I mean, I know I messed up my second and third laps in qualifying, and I was looking at, you probably shouldn't do this, but I was looking at my leaderboard during qualifying. I was like, yeah, Dan's, ahead. I got to put in a good lap, and just got him. And then, kind of at the start for the first couple laps, I tried to do a countdown so Brian could get a good run on the start, but he didn't really make that happen. So it ended up being Dan in second. And then, I mean, I was pretty confident that I would have the better pace over the whole race, but it's when you can't shake them off after 6 or 7 laps, you start to get a little bit worried. But just kind of stuck to my pace, and eventually he lost the draft, and it's kind of home free then.
Adam, why this track? What makes you so fast at this track? Why is it so special for you?
I mean, I don't really know if this is a particularly better track for me than it's a pretty good track. It's not like my best track, but I'd say I don't really know why, to be honest. I mean, I know in open, I know what sort of setup the setup I generally build for this track is pretty fast compared to like the setups I can build it for like Barber or Mid Ohio. And I think the setup that we run in this league is pretty close to what I like for this track. So that definitely helps. Also, I've just done a lot of races here, so it doesn't really take me much practice to get up to speed. So,
and it seems like you and your teammate are pretty much on the same page. He didn't do so bad this evening either. With the third place finish, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, well, Andrew P3 and Brian P4,
yeah,
so that's
Brian P4. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, should have thrown that in.
I think that's the best finish we've had since I've been on the team. We've been close. We haven't got the 1, 2, 3 yet, but I thought tonight was going to be the night, but not quite.
Pretty close. Not bad. Good stuff. Well, Adam, we got to go to New Hampshire next week. You ready for that?
Yeah, New Hampshire is one of my favorite short tracks. I love short tracks, and New Hampshire's a flat track, so looking forward to it. Hopefully, if I do well enough, I can clinch a championship next week and just go ahead and get that over with. So that's kind of my goal.
You ever been to New Hampshire? You seen a race up there before?
Nope, never have. So.
You got to take that trip up the I-95, man. Make your way up there. Go catch a race.
If IndyCar ever comes back, I will.
All right, that's Adam Blocker, our winner tonight here, round 21 here at Road America. And Richie has caught up with Dandy Dan Guerin. Congratulations to him tonight.
Yeah, Dan, another second place finish here after last race at Iowa, with Adam having his troubles and you winning that race and getting some positions on him in the championship. I know second place is good, but I know talking to you over the year, you're probably not that excited about it.
You kidding me? I got second place. The road course isn't too bad. I don't want to say it's one of my favorite ones. Phillip Island, Mosport, those two definitely trump this one here. But I do like this one. I do like the flow of it. It's fun. It's fast. And hats off to Adam on another good win there. I thought I could hang with him for a little bit. I started screwing up about halfway through the first stint and slowly got away from me, and he is amazing through that carousel too. I don't know what he was doing, but he was just gained 3/10 on me just in that part alone, and I don't know what he was doing, but I just held on for second and very very ecstatic about it.
Yeah, Adam, that definitely was flying. He actually set his fastest lap on the last lap at a 41.7. So you did do at the beginning, you were kind of hanging in there, but your first pit stop, you were about a second slower than him on that first pit stop. And it seemed like that point you just kind of lost the draft. But the rest of the time is just kind of quiet, steady running.
Yeah, that first pit stop there, I hadn't practiced any pit ins at all, and I normally practice at least a handful or more. And since I didn't practice it, I'm like, well, we're just gonna try it, see what happens. And I just maybe did a little bit too much entering the pit there. And I think it was that pit stop that we had the same lap times coming back out, or very close to like 3 thousandths of a second difference or something like that. But the next pit stop, I did push a little bit more, but by that time, Adams already had a 6 second lead on me, so it didn't matter. I just had to make sure that I stayed ahead of Brian and Andrew on it.
Yeah, well, you definitely had definite speed on those guys. Really didn't have anything for you for most of the race, but we are going on to an oval, which we know you're very strong with 2 races to go. It's not impossible for the championship. So, maybe next week we'll see a repeat of Iowa.
Oh, that would be nice. I believe in New Hampshire last year, I ended up winning on a fuel mileage race, and Andrew, he almost got me because I ran out coming to the line, and Andrew had the run on me. But I was trying to save like the whole last stint, and it was fun because of at least that part. But
Way to go,
yeah,
Dan.
I hope I can repeat it next year or this next.
Yeah, it'd be exciting for us to watch for sure. Well, Dan, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on a well-run race. It's definitely better than I probably would have done. So nicely done, and we'll see you next week.
All right, Richie, thanks a lot.
There you go, Sean.
Richie Hearn telling Dan Guerin that was probably better than he would have done. I don't know, Richie. You're selling yourself a little short there, buddy.
No, Dan's good in this car. I still struggle a little bit.
All right. Well, listen, we're not struggling anymore because, we brought Andrew Kinsella and Brian Carey both in. Why? Well, guys, if you're going to lock down a team championship, I guess filling out first, third, and fourth in a race is a pretty good way to do it, isn't it?
Absolutely. Definitely very happy with that. Brian drove a great race. He just made the one mistake in Canada corner, and I managed to get him, but he definitely had a little bit of a faster, was a little bit faster than me today, but definitely very happy with the team result and happy to get the podium. And I'm happy personally just to finally finish one of these road course races because I've had the worst luck this season. So feels good
seems
for me.
like, yeah, it seems like this season you have. I mean, you're a noted road ace, man. So I mean, it's really been nothing more than luck. But Brian, was there any communication going on via radio there between you guys?
No, just after that last stop, I saw I was coming up behind Dan, so I told him to go get him, and he said he wasn't quite sure. Like Dan was it was motoring pretty good, but other than a few, swear words when I went off the track, there wasn't a lot of communication.
So how tense was that for you here at Road America this evening, Brian?
Actually, not tense at all. I mean, there was that one mistake. It was just in a fuel saving mode. I kind of messed up a downshift. I didn't go down enough gear, so I carried a little bit too much speed into the corner and ran wide. But honestly, running at Road America, it's almost like meditation because, I mean, it's just so smooth and flowing. Like you just, like flat out 100%, hit all your apexes, all your acceleration points, and then you get to 31 laps and can't believe it's over.
All right. So you brought up an interesting point there when you talked about fuel saving mode. Andrew, I'll throw it to you here for a little bit. We haven't talked about it yet. How important was the fuel strategy this evening and when you saved and when you didn't?
I definitely think that the people who saved in the second stint had a little bit of an advantage. Just because you knew if you messed up your fuel saving in the second stint, you could always do it in the third. And I think it also just pays to be able to know that you can just go flat out at the end and you can burn your push to passes. So from that respect, I think that there was a little bit of strategy with the fuel saving and when you did it. But for the most part, I mean, you basically had 2 flat out stints and 1 fuel save stint where you didn't have to save too much. I could get away with basically lifting into 5 every lap, and I was fine on fuel. But overall, I think this was a good balance of you had to do a little bit of strategy, but for the most part, it was flat out for me for most of the race.
And Andrew, did you have any push to passes left at the end?
No, I burned 2 on the last lap just to keep Brian back, make sure he wasn't getting in the draft. But because I knew if he could get there, he was going to come at me. But
right.
But yeah, no, I burned everything that I had, and I had about a gallon of fuel left, so everything was good.
All right, Brian, how many did you have left?
Well, I burned him coming on the last lap there. I was actually had a strategy. I had him like kind of banked up, and I got into Andrew's draft, and I was ready to go. And unfortunately, some lap traffic wasn't as polite as I would hope, and I lost the draft a bit. So I ended up setting my fastest lap in the last lap, knowing that it's like, all right, I've got 2 of these things left. So I used them both to try to catch him, but wasn't quite enough.
Well, listen, great racing tonight for the team, for both of you. We head to New Hampshire next week, kind of getting into the thick of things here with the season winding down. Again, congratulations, guys. We'll look forward to seeing you in New Hampshire, and I'm sure the team will have a little strategy ready for us when we get there.
Thanks, Ron. See you then.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, and that was Andrew Kinsella and Brian Carey, 3rd and 4th, respectively, this evening. And, well, Richie, a lot of fun here in Road America this evening, but it's time to say thanks to a few people. And, of course, we want to thank First Medical Equipment. They've been the source of medical supplies and equipment in the Burlington, Iowa area for years because of their superior commitment to provide the absolute best in product quality and customer service. And then we have
there we go.
Sim
I'm here.
Experience.
Sorry, I want to say thanks to Sim Experience. I don't know what happened right there, but Sim Experience, the team behind the AccuForce Pro V2 direct drive steering systems, by providing unparalleled realism and the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce provides a significant advantage to any sim racer. It can also make for an effective training tool for the real-world drivers. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including their GS5 Stage Series motion systems, and Sim5 software, visit www.simexperience.com and use the promo code SimXLion to get 5% off all Sim5 software. All right, and we also want to thank Butt Kicker. Yes, Butt Kicker products add instant immersion to any game. Unlike a subwoofer that moves air and loses accuracy and force, Butt Kicker products move actual mass, producing a haptic immersion that's powerful and accurate. Butt Kicker products add that missing driver-to-car connection, bringing more realism and immersion to your sessions. See all the family of products at thebuttkicker.com. Use the promo code LION25 to get 25% off your order. That's 25%, Richie. Yeah, no, you gotta. Someday I'm gonna have to get one of those Butt Kicker systems. I think that's just gonna make my rig. It's gonna make me go faster, I think. To contact any of the sponsors you see on the screen right now, go to LionheartRacingSeries.com. Click on 2019 sponsors, read or scroll to the bottom where you can click on the company logo. The original music on every GSRC broadcast comes courtesy of June Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact her. On the screen now are also some of the companies and equipment and software that made this broadcast possible. The Lionheart IndyCar Series returns in 1 week, November 13th for round 22 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. GSRC and IESN will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us. All right, Richie, thank you so much. A lot of fun here tonight with you, but on screen now are some of our upcoming broadcasts. Check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. Hey, listen, if you want to know more about the Global SimRacing Channel, including
what we've got coming up for future broadcasts, go to our website, globalsimracingchannel.com. Get us on social media, Facebook. Just find us at Global Sim Racing Channel. Twitter at GSR Channel. If you're not following us on Twitter, why not? And we're on IG for that matter, GSRC_Graham. Find us there. And while you're here, and if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network. If you're not a subscriber, the button there is red. It's telling you to subscribe. It's asking you. It's pleading with you. Please subscribe. Do that for GSRC too. But finally, on behalf of everybody involved in putting this broadcast together this evening, including the great Richie Hearn, the one and only Amjad Yaman, the wizard of all that is cameras, Dougie Beard. Well, the professor wasn't here. But anyway, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. I'm Sean Ambrose. I'll see you again next week in New Hampshire. The win tonight, Adam Blocker here at the Rogue Buck 125 at Road America. With that said, well, we're all going to go storm the castle for our buddy Soup. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.